Today we are going to have a look at a couple of tools that helped me so much mixing music even though I'm having a hearing loss, wearing hearing aids, having severe tinnitus, hyperacusis and God knows what hearing issues. And these tools are so valuable even if you're having hearing loss or not. If you're new to this channel, my name is Moneeo. I run this channel together with my partner in crime, Moneeo. And together we create music. We're composers, sound artists. We love to build musical instruments, both traditionals and strange ones. And one big project on this channel is the renovation of this beautiful Soundtrax Jade, a 30-year-old analog mixing console. I've been working as a sound engineer the last 30 years something. Started with the studio back in the 90s with a reel-to-reel. Nowadays I combine my work here in our own studio with live sound engineer works at concert halls and theaters. So I'm a sound engineer living with hearing loss since a couple of years back. But today we are going to focus on a couple of tools that can help us mix the frequencies we can't hear. Okay, let's get to it. Let's jump into my DAW of choice. I am a Cubase guy since the 90s. So here we have a couple of sound examples that we are going to check out. And the first one sounds like this. It's a nice acoustic guitar song. Since my hearing loss is at the high frequencies, so I need a tool that can make me check the high frequencies. So the first tool we are going to check out is Tonal Balance Control. And it allows us to see the frequencies visually. And this is super crucial for me who's having hearing loss in the high frequencies. Now I'm able to actually see the frequencies on the screen. So this is what it looks like. And the first screen that we get to as default doesn't actually say that much. What we want to do is go from broad to fine. Here's what it looks like now. So we can see here that it's pretty much like a real-time analyzer. It goes from low frequencies to the high frequencies. And the thing with tonal balance control is that we are supposed to stay within this field. If any frequencies is on its way out, like here or down here, then we might have some unbalance frequency-wise. Of course, this is not 100%, but it can give us some important clues on what's going on. So in this one, we can see it's a little bit on the edge here, around 250 Hertz. And for me, who's having trouble hearing the high frequencies, I keep an eye over here so that it stays in tune. And of course, it's a big difference between genres. So that's why we have a couple of presets here. If we change this, the curve change. So what you need to do is put your reference tracks into a project and just play around and check out the different genres and see which genre are your reference track matching us best with. And if you haven't watched it, I have a complete video with how to use reference tracks, especially when having hearing issues. Check out the link to that video in the comments. For me, the genre that works best is actually the one called bass heavy. And this is what it can look like for acoustic music. Let's have a different one.
A part of me is a part of you.
You can see that it's kind of bass heavy, even though it's an upright bass.
We're together as part of me.
I can have a look around here.
It's a part of you.
Around 10K, I have to be careful because that is frequencies that I don't hear extremely well. So even if I don't hear 10K very well, I can keep an eye and see what's going on. An audiogram is the frequency response of my hearing. The funny thing with hearing is that if you're having a look at my audiogram, at 2 kilohertz it starts going down. So thinking that I could hear 10K is almost impossible. But the thing is, we hear music in totally different ways. The audiogram only shows the test with the audiogram. You know, when you test your hearing, you put the headphones on and you get this button and you press whenever you hear a beep. So the audiogram is not the total truth, it just gives you a hint of which frequencies have a problem. So even though 10 kilohertz doesn't look good on my audiogram, I can still tweak 10K on my EQ and hear the difference. But to make sure that I don't go totally crazy with it, just to match my hearing loss, then tonal balance control is a perfect tool to verify that I'm in the right spot. And of course, I also check these frequencies. It's so great to have Irene, who have really great hearing, and she can verify if we are way off or if we are in the right spot. Okay, let's have a look at another song. Oh, this one actually pretty steady. It's not that dynamic, so yeah. And the fact is that tonal balance control is actually an RTA, real-time analyzer, but has the added feature to add this curve so that we can see that we're in the right spot. And if we're going to the settings up here, I normally just leave them as they are, but if we change this average time settings to real time, we can see that the curve behaves like a real-time analyzer. If we set it to 1 second, it's a little more stable. And if we set it to 10 seconds, which is the default value, then we get this steady, nice curve. Because that's what we are interested in, to get the overall frequency response. That's what's important. So tonal balance is actually a real-time analyzer, but has this clever graphic showing. Another great tool to get a visual representation of the sound is to use BX meter from Brainworks. And it's perfect VG meter for mastering, but it also has one really clever function to one problem that is quite normal out there. When I talk with other sound engineers about hearings and tell them about my issues, often they respond and tell me their issues. And it's not that uncommon that they are telling me that they are having difference between left and right ear. It can be a difference in frequency response. One ear is the good one and the other one is the bad one. It can also be that the ears are slightly out of phase, and it can be a difference in volume. And that can be a bit tricky when mixing, when you don't hear the other side as well. So here's a really great function of the BX meter. It's down here. This little button is actually swapping the channels. Left becomes right, right becomes left. Swapping channels. And the thing is that this function is not only of great value for us who are having a hearing loss or other hearing issues. This is good for everyone. Because when we're sitting in very long mixing sessions, our ears are calibrated over time and we get used to what the mix sounds like. Our hearing learns that the high's on this one and the wide on this one, for example. But if we during mix just swap the channels, it makes the sound change and our brain has to wake up and think about what is it that we're actually hearing. Not very dramatic, but it's a change that can be really good doing when we're sitting in long mixing sessions. So, left-right swapping. Good button. Okay, so that was a couple of the tools that can help us mix the frequencies we can't hear. I have a bunch of more tools to show you guys that can help us make better mixes. And especially if you're having some trouble with hearing, these can make your day, just like they do for me. And if you like to see more of this kind of stuff and haven't already, why not hit the subscribe button? the like button and write something in the comments. I would love to hear your tips. I bet that you are having a bunch of tools that you are using in the same way. Write them in the comments. Let's share everything that we know on this topic. If we share the knowledge to each other, we help each other, and everybody wins from that. I think it's so much fun to have contact with you. So please write something. So that's it for today. Take care of yourself, relax, breathe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao!